in the region and raised questions about U.S. and its plans for Venezuela's future. President Trump says the U.S. will run the country until a transition can happen. For more on the political and security implications, we are joined live now by Virginia Congressman James Walkinshaw. Congressman, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, first off, I know the president did not notify Congress before these actions in Venezuela. I know you and others in your party have raised concerns about this. I want to ask you your take on this situation right now and the legality of all of this type of operation without congressional approval.
Well, the Constitution is very clear for the president, any president, to engage in this kind of armed conflict, an invasion, maybe limited in scope, but an invasion of a sovereign nation. They have to come to Congress to get approval. President Trump obviously did not do that, and that's where we are today. But from my perspective, the operation in Venezuela was and is illegal and unconstitutional, and I expect next week Congress will vote again on a war powers resolution, and I will again vote against giving the President of the United States the authority to engage in armed conflict related to Venezuela.
I know the president has said that the U.S. will run the country for now until a transition can happen. How do you see a credible political transition unfolding right now in Venezuela? Of course, a lot of questions around what this would mean for U.S. troops over there.
Well, first, the last thing that the United States of America needs to be doing right now is, quote, running Venezuela, like President Trump said. We got real problems here in our own country, problems with healthcare costs, problems with grocery costs, problems with utility costs. We need a president obsessed with that. That said, the path forward for Venezuela is to hold free and fair elections as quickly as possible. And the United States could play a role along with the international community in overseeing those elections to ensure they're fair and there can be a democratic transition in Venezuela. The people of Venezuela should choose their leaders based on who can best deliver for them, not based on who can best deliver for the whims of Donald Trump.
I want to ask you what this means for U.S. policy in the region. I know there were some concerns about what kind of precedent this may set for others, and all eyes right now on the U.S. and Venezuela. So I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, look, the United States has a long and not very successful history of deposing leaders in Latin America, and typically the outcomes are not great. So we need to tread cautiously here. And the best thing we can do in Venezuela or any other country in our hemisphere is work to support democratic movements and free and fair democratic elections and let the citizens of those nations make the decisions about their leaders and the policies that those leaders implement.
And of course, we all know this happened in a surprise overnight operation yesterday. Everyone, I think, just trying to process it and grasp what this means for the U.S., for Venezuela. What should we be looking out for? Some key takeaways, next steps, especially from lawmakers and from the Trump administration over the next couple of days and weeks?
Well, I think Congress needs to reassert itself, and for that to happen, because Republicans control both the House and Senate, some of them are going to have to step up and fulfill their constitutional responsibilities and duties. But I think the key thing moving forward here is to prevent the United States from getting bogged down into either a long-term conflict in Venezuela, which could descend into a civil war or an armed conflict between rival groups in Venezuela. We don't want to get bogged down in that. And we don't want to commit or get engaged in an effort to nation build in Venezuela. And we've been down this road before in Iraq and Afghanistan, decades after decades of so-called nation building, billions and billions of American tax dollars spent, lives lost. We want to avoid that in Venezuela, and that's why this illegal action was so ill-advised.
All right, certainly still a lot developing. Congressman, we appreciate your time and insight this morning. Thanks so much.